Hi everyone. So in this video we are going to explain about one of the experiments in the microcontrollers lab, which is multi-byte addition and subtraction. So in this video we will see how the program will be written for that and what is the basic explanation. Okay, and we will know how to do the experiment regarding this. Okay, let's have a look at this. So this is the experiment regarding the multi-byte addition and subtraction. Okay. So here, so the main aim of this experiment is we need to write an assembly language program for the both modules of this program. One is the addition and another is the subtraction. Okay. So for addition part, we have provided a separate program, and for subtraction part also we have provided a separate program. Okay. So that we can understand what is happening. Okay. So coming to the multi-byte addition, for this part, the main aim is to we have to write an assembly language program to perform addition for the two values, and we need to get the result, and we need to store the result in some another memory location. Okay. So here, since the data is a multi-byte data, here the experiment is a multi-byte addition. So that means we have to deal here with the not a single byte of data, but with a multi-bytes of data, multiple bytes of data. That means an array of values. So here in this experiment, we need to perform addition for one array of value to the another array of value, and finally we need to obtain the result with another array. That means totally here simply say in a conventional way of saying it is nothing but some array addition. That is a basic sense we can get here. Okay. So what are the tools I am using here is MASM 611. That is a version name. Tool name is MASM, which conveys the meaning Microsoft Assembler. Okay. MASM means Microsoft Assembler, and its version is 6.11. We are using it, and we are using it in a computer. So it is a tool, it is a software tool we use to develop this program. Okay. And coming to this program is out and out completely written in compatible with 8086 assembly language in assembly language programming. So this programming language, this syntax is out and out compatible with the 8086 microprocessor. Okay. So now let's start with the explanation of this program. So coming to here, since we need to perform the addition, initially we need to provide the values. On what values we need to perform the addition? We know the operation what we need to perform, which is called addition, but we don't know on what values we need to perform that operation. That's why we need to first of all we need to define those values. So that's why we are initializing the data segment here. We initialize the data segment here up to this part. So this part of the program is called as it depicts the contents stored in the data segment. So whenever a statement like this, data some segment, it is provided it means that the data segment is initialized. That means whatever the statements which are getting written below the statement, those are all comes under the data segment. Means these statements will be stored inside the data segment of a RAM of 8086. Okay, and up to how much up to this statement. So the statements which are residing between data segment and the data ends, these statements will be resided inside the data segment of the 8086 RAM. Okay. So what are the values I am storing inside the data segment of 8086? Means so in the num1 value, num1 array 1 an operate, okay, and another value num2 we are providing here, so that the values in array num1 and the values in array num2 have to be successfully added, and the respective values should be stored inside our result array num3. So num1 and num2 are the operand arrays which provides the values, and num3 is the result array where I can store my result. Okay, how we have defined these values? Let's have it. So num1, it is the name of the array, and db means defined byte. DB indicates define byte. So whenever this assembler directive is provided, so here in our assembly language program, generally along with the instruction instruction set of 8086, we use the assembler directives also, so that they will convey the meaningful, they will be understandable to the assembler how this data has to be treated and everything. Okay, so assembler directives, instructions, all will be commonly used within an assembly language programming. Okay, so that's why here, along with our instructions and mnemonics and everything, I am using the assembler directives here and there in our programs also, wherever they are applicable and wherever they can be possible to use. Okay. So num1 is the name of the array. DB means it is an assembler directive, which conveys the meaning that whatever the values that are getting stored inside the num1 array are of type byte type, are of byte type. That means 8-bit size. That means each value size is 8-bit. Let us say 05H, it is 8-bit. 5AH, it is an 8-bit value. 6CH, it is also an 8-bit value. So like that, it will convey the meaning to the assembler, not to the processor. So the basic difference is instructions are commands to the processor. Assembler directives are commands to the assembler. That is the basic difference. In a shortest form, we can interpret like that. Okay. So like this, we have provided some series of values, an array of values, and where these values are all will be located in the data segment of the RAM. Okay. Next, num2. It is also an array whose name is num2 of type byte type. So in this array also, the values will be stored as the size of byte, a single byte. Okay, all these bytes. So totally how many bytes each array is containing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 bytes is storing. 8 bytes of values is contained. Each array, this num1 array and num2 array are containing totally how many values? 8 values of each size 1 byte. So totally 8 bytes is reserving, and num2 is also reserving 8 bytes. So that's why we need to perform operations on in each array. How many elements we need to perform the operations? 8 elements. So in each array, upon how many elements we need to perform this addition operation? On 8 elements. That's why I have created a variable called bytes to indicate the count of number of bytes in each element, so that it will track those values, track the count. Okay. So bytes is a variable I am using to identify how many number of elements are getting used inside an array, either num1 or num2, or even the result array num2. Okay. So this bytes variable will be helpful in tracking how many number of variables have undergone the addition and how many number of variables or values are still needs to be added. Those type of tracking we can use. Okay. So that's why the bytes EQU08H, the statement is provided. This EQU is a assembler directive. EQU means it is an assembler directive, and its meaning is equate. Its meaning is equate. So whenever the statement is provided, it means that bytes is a variable and it is getting assigned with a value 08H. So throughout this program, whenever we encounter a variable named byte, automatically the assembler understands that this is a value called 08H. Like that, the assembler will interpret, because here we have used an assembler directive called equate. That is its purpose. Okay. So based on after these declarations of the initialization of these values and everything, so we are closing the data segment, because we have defined whatever the values required to perform the addition. Okay, next we need to write a logic. That's why data's end s. We are providing a statement called data end s, where end s indicates end segment. End s indicates end segment. So whenever this name, whatever based on the name provided here, this forward previous name data. Suppose if here is a code ends means, it means that code segment is getting ended. Suppose here it is a stack means stack segment gets ended. So likewise here since the name data is there, the name of the segment is data. That's why here the data segment is getting closed. That means we are not providing any further statements inside the data segment. So up to this, whatever the values I need to store inside the data segment, those are all completed. Next, I am jumping to the code segment where I need to write the program. So code segment. In the code segment, I will start writing the program. Okay. So these are the statements I am provided here. I am providing here. Okay. So code segment, and here the basic statement is assume cs code comma ds data. This statement means that in your program, in your codes, in your segment, in your program, what are the segments you are using here, or what are the segments you are supposed to use. So in my program, I am in requirement of using two segments, code segment and data segment. That's why I have provided here assume cs code comma ds data. Because in our 8086 of RAM, of total 1 MB of RAM, there are four types of segments are there. Code segment, data segment, stack segment, and extra segment. Okay, let's have a minute. Yes, okay. So there are totally four types of segments in our 8086 RAM. So among these, I am using here only two segments, which are now applicable here, which I am now I can use here. One is the code segment, another is the data segment. If I have the requirement to use another type of segment, I can use here. Okay, since I am not in use of that segment, I am not using it here. Okay, if I have a use, definitely I can use that segment. Or otherwise, I can use whatever the segments I am in requirement here. Okay, that is. So assume CS code TS data. Okay, start. So this is the label I am providing here for convenience of programming and for iterations and everything. Okay, label. Okay, so move AX comma data and move DS comma AX. So these two statements will have some combined effect because move AX comma data. So this data here indicates that it is temporarily holding this line. So here this data name of the segment is data. So it is temporarily holding the base address of the data segment. But the programmer doesn't know what is that address. Automatically the assembler will assign that address. Okay. So we don't need to bother about it. But the thing what we have to do is we need to make that value store in a proper register. That's why we are writing this statement. Because the segment's base address definitely should be stored in a segment register. That is the thing we have to do while writing an 8086 program. So that's why what I am doing here is I am writing these two statements. So what is happening is move AX comma data. With this statement, what happens is whatever the data segment's base address is there, it will be moved into the register AX 16-bit base address. Because 8086 is a 16-bit processor, so that's why the register size is also generally 16-bit size. Okay. So whatever the data segment's base address, 16-bit base address, that will be stored inside moved into the AX register. And from there, because of the next instruction, move DX comma AX, that AX, what it is held, data segments base address. That will be now moved into that destination, what is called as the data segment register, exact destination. Because data segment is there inside the RAM, but we don't know from which location that segment is started in our length of 1 MB of RAM. In our lengthy 1 MB of RAM, we know that there is a data segment, but we don't know from where it is getting started. That will be taken care by data segment register. So it will held that address by this help of two statements. Okay. And next one, yes, previously also we have told bytes EQU 08, which will be used helpful for uh, tracking the number of elements I am using in the array. Okay, so that value I am now moving it into the CX register. Temporarily I am moving it into the copying into the CX register called count register for counting purposes, for tracking purposes. Okay, and next one. So these three steps are very crucial, and the statement here means is LEA means load effective address. Load effective address. Okay. So these are the three continuous statements are there. Let's have a look at these three statements: LEA, SI, LEADI, LEA, BX. So what this LEA exactly means is, in our 8086 architecture, similar like the segment registers. Okay, we have already told that what is the purpose of a segment register. Holds the base address of a segment in our RAM. Okay, but it does not know in that segment from where our data needs to be located. It does not know that. Okay, we have a segment in our RAM. Okay, it is okay, but from which location of that segment our data is located for that purpose. So, from which location our data is getting stored inside that segment, to track those values or to hold those starting addresses, we will use these some of the registers which are called index registers and some base registers. Okay, so that's why here SI is called as the source index register. DI register DI is called the destination index register. BX actually is one of the general purpose registers to be used in 8086 architecture, and its another purpose is also called as a base register, which holds the base address of some series of locations in the data segment. Okay, for that purpose also we can use this register. Okay, so these three instructions what they can means is the LEA SI comma num1. So num1 earlier we have told what is called num1. It is an array of values of byte type. So these values will be located inside the data segment, but we don't know from which location this array is allocated. Okay, so that's why automatically from which location this num1 array is allocated in the data segment, the base address will be allocated stored inside the SI. Similarly, the num2 array from which location is stored inside the data segment, that base address will be stored into the DI register, destination index register. Similarly, our result array num3, its location is also be stored inside. It's the starting location. From which location this num3 result array has to be accomplished or developed, or it needs to store the values. The starting address num3 array starting address will be held by the BX register, base address, register. Okay, what is this num3? So num3 is defined as defined byte. Num3 is defined as a defined byte type. So it is also defined by byte type. Okay, and we observe here statement is somewhat different, which is called 0AH DUP of 0 0. Means here this 0AH indicates the number of locations I need to create, because in num1 and num2 arrays we are already provided with the values. So I know what are the values I need to provide there and how many locations I need to allocate. I know based on the values I am provided. But coming to the num3, it is a result array. After the calculation, arithmetic operations only, the results will be generated, and by the time of generating the results, already we have to show some location where the results has to be stored. For that purpose, num3 result array is defined like this. So what is it doing is we are temporarily under the name of num3 we are creating some temporary storage locations. How many? 0AH means around 10 locations and temporary locations to hold the result. Okay, and each location is initialized with zeros because to avoid the garbage values and some unnecessary unexpected conflicts and everything. Okay, we are initializing each location under the num3 with 0 0. Okay, and how many locations I am allocating here? 0AH means certain location. It is up to my interest. Let us say I can use 08H here, or I can use FFH. That is my interest completely. Okay. How many locations you want to allocate under the name N3, num3? It is completely the programmer's interest. Okay. So now, before starting our actual operation, so up to now far, what we have done is we have initialized the values in our data segment, and we have collected the data segment's base address, and whatever the values that are located inside the data segment, those addresses also we have collected. Okay. And now we need to start our actual operation, our arithmetic operation. Okay. So now move ax comma 0 0. What it means is, since ax is previously used for holding the data segment base address, and here for the any arithmetic operation in 8086 architecture, ax, which is called accumulator, ax register is called accumulator. So this register is very important. So that's why, since it is already containing some value, so before doing any other operation, I am trying to clear that register. So move ax comma 0 0 means clear that accumulator so that I can use it for some arithmetic operation. So next, I have created some label called next. So for some programmable flexibility and some iterations and everything. Okay. Next, move al comma braces of si. So what it means is, so braces of si. So earlier I have told si means source index register. Okay, index register. So in 8086, whenever a register is provided with these braces, square braces, what it means is that whatever the content that is located inside that register is not a value, but it is an address value. That is its actual. That is how the 8086 will interpret the value. Okay. So if it is normally given as move al comma si, then how it means is that the 8086 understands the just si is containing some value, it is getting moved into the al. That is how it will interpret. But since here it is provided with the square braces, what it means is that move al comma square braces of si. So what it means is si is a source index register which is holding some value, and that value is a address. By going into that address, a value will be obtained, and that value needs to be moved into the A. That is one. So the addressing mode is somewhat different. So next one, ADC AL comma braces of DI. So similarly here also braces of DI is provided here. So which means that destination index register is holding some value which is called some address value. By going into that address value, I can obtain a value. By going into that address, I can get a value, and that value is, since the instruction is ADC, what is happening? This value, whatever the value obtained through referencing the DI hold address location, that value will be added with the content stored in AL, and the result is also stored in the AL. If there is any carry generation, the carry flag will be affected because of this arithmetic operation. And next, move braces of BX comma AL, and after this arithmetic operation, whatever the result that is obtained in our AL register, that is called lower byte of the accumulator AX register. Okay, AL is called the lower byte of accumulator. Okay, so this value AL is now moved into the location referred by the BX register. So BX is holding a value which is called an address value. So into that address value, now the value in AL will be moved. What it contains? The result of some arithmetic operation. Okay. Next, increment SI. So why I am incrementing here? If you observe here, you need to just try to draw some structure like this so that you can understand clearly like this. Since we are talking like num1 and num2, num3, all are some array of values, you can just have a representation like this is num1. So similarly, we have some this is some another array called num2, and this base address is now held by which register? SI register. This register's base address is held by the num2 array's base address is held by DI register. So at this time, so what are the values located in this location? 0, 5, and in the num2, the first one is 0, 4, 0, 5, and 0, 4. These two values will be added, and whenever the arithmetic operation is completed, that result has to be stored in our result array num3. How do we come to the num3? The the base address register bx is holding the starting address of the num3 array. This is bx. Okay. So what happens after all these operations? This 5 and 4 will be get added. Since LEA instruction provides is load effective address instruction, what it provides is num1 starting address is now referred by SI, num2 starting address is referred by now DI, num3 result array starting address is now referred by BX. So because of these braces and provided everything, so indirect addressing and everything, so right, what happens is the value located inside this referred address will be accessed and it will be stored, will be added, and it will be finally stored in the BX referred location. So what is this location? Now BX is referring to the starting address of the num3 array. Okay. By into this location, this summation will store. What is that? 0, 9, 0, 9, 0, 5 plus 4. 5 plus 4 gives 9. So one iteration is complete. So one element gets added in each corresponding array. One value got fixed, and the result is stored inside result array. Still, how many values are left? 7 values are left. Okay. So before going further, before going for the next value, SI has to be incremented. So since this value got referred and operation is completed, now SI has to get incremented to this location. SI has to move to this location. DI also has to now refer to this location. Okay, that's why increment DI. And BX also has to store the result in the next location. So BX will also get incremented. But unfortunately, among the total elements, one element's operation is completed. Still, how many are left? We have to calculate. That's why decrement C. It gives still how many elements are left without operation. So that's why. So by the first iteration, it will give us only 7. Okay. So if you check with the statement J and Z, the jump if not 0. So this instruction internally monitors the counter register. Since this is the previous instruction here. So what it will do is defaultly it will monitor the counter register. By this time, what is the value of counter register? 7. Okay, so it is a non-zero value. So obviously execution control now will have to do this label. Next. So now again move AL comma braces of SI. And by this time, what is the value that is getting loaded into the AL now? 5AH. 5AH. 5A. And what is the value located here? What is the value located in num2? Now what is the value that is getting referred by DI here in num2? 56. 5AH and 56. Okay. These two values now will be added like the previous explanation, and the result will be stored here. Okay. And again, these SI, DI, BX will be incremented, and since the next further values are added, whatever the leftover values will be tracked by the CX register, it will be decremented, and value gets again reached to the next label to perform the operation. since it is a non-zero. This iteration will be continued till this counter register gets 0. Till this counter register is 00H, this iteration will be continued. Means by the time whenever this counter register gets 00, what happens is all the values in these arrays num1 and num2 will get added, and their values will be correspondingly stored inside the num3 location. So this is the basic explanation regarding the multi-byte addition. Okay. So this statement indicates is int 3H. So it is an interrupt to from the program execution and everything. So what is up to this one, and these two statements indicate to the assembler that our code segment is completed and this label is also closed. We are closing the label. That's the basic explanation. Because, and after all these things are completed, like this shown here, we need to create a list file, and we need to specify these contents: address, opcode, mnemonic, operands, the respective comments regarding that program. And finally, we need to provide the result file. What we have obtained by doing this experiment, that result we need to provide. So this is similarly multi-byte subtraction. The major change between the multi-byte addition and subtraction is only the single instruction, which is called SBB. The remaining whole explanation is same. So in the place of ADC instruction, I am providing here SBB instruction, which means subtract with borrow. ADC means addition with carry. Subtraction means subtract with borrow. SBB means subtract with borrow. So except this single instruction, the remaining whole program is same, and the same explanation is also applicable. Okay. So since I want to do the subtraction here, this is the only instruction I have changed. Similarly, like num1 array, num2 array, and num3 array, values will be taken. They will be, so the result will be stored inside the num3 array. Okay. So for this also, we need to generate a list file, and the result should be stored. That the result should be written like here, written. Okay. Right. I hope the content is understandable. Okay. So how this tool flow? What are the tool flow regarding this Mason? All this, how do we run the program? How to create a file and everything? It is explained in another video. You can refer that.